SNES Classic hack? Yeah. Cluster M, who is a Russian hacker, that's just funny to say, is working on the Hakchi 2 hack for the SNES Classic. A lot of people have been asking about this. It is in development. It will drop soon. The minute it drops, I will be giving you that link. It will be here actually on the GitHub. You can see here the last version is 2.17D, which works for the NES Classic, but the SNES Classic has not quite been finished yet, but there has been major progress done on it. As you see here, he got it working. He found out that the way that the SNES Classic uses the files is more like the Wii U virtual box. So now that they have this information, it's just a matter of time of converting and things like that. As far as which ROMs are going to work, it has been confirmed that they will convert them. So any .zip ROMs that you find around the internet that work for RetroPie or something like that will work just fine for the SNES Classic. So for those of you that want to prepare, you can prepare appropriately. As far as how much space is the SNES Classic actually going to have, it seems that the internal space on the SNES Classic is around 350 megabytes, and you're not going to be able to use all 350, so you might get like 320, something like that. It's all speculation right now, but it'll be less than 350 megabytes stock. So most ROM packs for the entire SNES collection, the over 700 games, are around 500 to 750 megabytes, which won't equate. What might happen though is people will compress the ROMs or find a more compressed version of the ROMs and may be able to get them to fit. The other thing is, I mean, just pick and choose your ROMs. It shouldn't be that big a deal to just choose the ones you want and get like 200, 300 of the 700 that you want, because that would equate to about that amount of space without any further compression. .zip files will work just fine. As far as Super Famicom working on the Super NES and Japanese games and American games, vice versa, eventually it will. It might not be during the first release. So at the first release, it will just be, you'll be able to get the ROMs for your SNES Classic on there. There are people now, ETA Prime did a video about this, where you can take your NES Classic, the Nintendo, and actually get those to run Super Nintendo games. Again, though, you're limited by the space, and you're using the NES Classic operating system, not the Super NES Classic operating system. So it'll all work out, I'm sure. Just please be patient. As I mentioned, there's a whole thread about this, and I'll put a link in it. It's 586 pages at 10 posts a page. I just answered the majority of the questions that were asked in there about the backwards compatibility, how much space, when. We're looking at somewhere between, he said a week, so 6 days from now, but it could be anywhere from 2 days to maybe even 10 days. But like I said, the minute it's ready, it will be released here under releases, and it'll be 2.18. You'll be able to read the information, and there'll be a nice little .zip download for you. As far as how is it going to work, Cluster did answer that as well. Very simple. It's just like when you plug your phone into your computer to transfer over your videos or your photos. Same idea. You'll just plug in your SNES Classic via the mini USB to the USB port on any computer, run the Hakchi 2 app, select the ROMs you want, click start, and it'll start transferring over those games, thus giving you way more games, unlocking and hacking your SNES Classic. As simple as that. You'll still be able to save state, do all those other functionalities. People have been commenting on some of my videos saying, oh, I bricked my SNES Classic. Well, that's because they didn't watch the entire video, A, or B, they're just trolling. As far as if they did brick it, it's really easy to unbrick. You just have to go get the stock kernel, reflash it, goes back to new. So for those of you who are like really worried about it, like, oh, I don't want to hack it because I want to resell it later, and stuff like that, you're going to be fine. You'll be fine. You can always, if you brick it, go back to the stock kernel. Let's say you hack it, but then you want to sell it, you can go back to the stock kernel. It's not that big a deal. 99% of the time you can unbrick these things. It's quite easy. You just go back to the stock kernel and flash that on there. Super easy to do. Moving along, I want to talk about emulation, because for those of you that are tired of waiting, or just waiting in line and you couldn't get the SNES Classic, or for those of you who just don't want to shell out $15,000 for SNES Classic and you're tired of the BS that Nintendo's been feeding you, then I recommend emulation. I recommend the Raspberry Pi, but you could do that with PS4, Xbox, the Dreamcast even emulated, Super Nintendo, even a PS2, other systems like that. I like this one though, $10,000 plus $3 of shipping. Don't forget that shipping cost. Anyways, there's people now working on the SNES Classic theme already. Ruckage is working on it. It's gorgeous. You can put the Super Mario World background on the back. You have a lot of options as well with the fonts and things like that. You can add additional games. I just made a video on exactly how to do it. Even do video preview snaps, which to me is cooler than the SNES Classic. The other thing, you can do screensavers. You can install shaders to do like CRT monitors, things like that, just like the SNES Classic does. You could do bezels, as you see here. I have a Super Nintendo Classic bezel on the sides. You could save state. You can rewind, shaders, 2-player, even 4-player for the N64, things like that. A 32 gigabyte SD card, which is about $12, can hold 10,000 retro games on a Raspberry Pi. 10,000. So you can pretty much rock all your old retro consoles. It's amazing stuff. And the NES Classic theme is ready now. Totally solid theme. And then the SNES Classic theme is ready now. If you want, you have to manually install it, but it will be on the emulation theme download page probably within the next couple days, if not a week. Furthermore, hardware. Raspberry Pi has been way into the hardware for a really long time. This isn't actually Raspberry Pi, but these are third-party companies, and that's why the Raspberry Pi is so great, is you have so many software developers as well as hardware developers making things. So this little SNES Classic by Tiny Tendo has a fan in there. You can put an LED like I did. You can change the color of the LED. This is available now. I'll put links in the description. I've made a whole video here on how to build your own. You don't have to wait. You can put the entire SNES catalog on there. You can have the background music just like the SNES Classic has, the fonts, the themes, everything. And you can build it brand new for around $120. You can buy it used, things like that, around $100. There's a lot of options you have. And the theme is gorgeous. It's easy to do. Great stuff. Finally, if I was a betting man, since I'm on my little RetroPie emulation hype train, next year this is all going to happen again with the Nintendo 64, and we're all going to be waiting in line. We're all going to play ridiculous prices for only, maybe they'll cut the games in half again. It'll be like 10 games, because it keeps going lower and lower in games. We already have a Nintendo 64 case for the Raspberry Pi. It's really cool, really cute, comes with a fan, cool little case, even has a little cartridge for it that you can buy, make your own custom graphics for it. So just to give you an idea that we're years ahead in this arena. Now, don't get me wrong, you're probably watching this video because you have the SNES Classic or you'd like to get it, and I totally get it. Not only is it an official licensed Nintendo product, it is super nostalgic, it's plug and play. The minute you buy it, it doubles in value. You can brag to your friends, whatever else reason you bought it for. It is cool, and I get it. So I'm just giving you the options. You can make the choices yourself. That's an update on the Hakchi application and where the hack is at currently. A little update on Raspberry Pi, RetroPie, and how the grass could be greener. I'm just saying. And I just heard like emulation is hard. Don't listen to those people. They don't know what they're talking about. Emulation is easy. It's cool to share with your friends. And once you learn, you're going to feel pretty good about yourself. Just saying. You don't have to have one or the other. You could have both. It's up to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next one.